Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, my name's Ben Thomas, and you're watching Combat Sports UK. Today, I'm joined by Jake McHugh, who climbs with Armand Herczeg this weekend at Octagon 52 in Newcastle. Firstly, Jake, the most important question of the day, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm good. We're nearly there now. I'm water loading, so I'm a little bit depleted. But other than that, I'm feeling really good, feeling really strong.
Beautiful. We're just days away from your first bout of 2024. How are the nerves, or maybe how are the excitement building up for you?
So always get a little bit of nerves, but that's just your body getting ready to do what it needs to do. But more than anything, I'm excited. I'm excited to be fighting my first pro fight in England. I'm excited to be a part of Octagon. I'm excited for my first fight of the new year. Very exciting, all this stuff.
Before we get into your bout on Saturday night, I just want to briefly touch on your experience in the Octagon Challenge. How did the opportunity actually come about for you? Were you maybe approached by Octagon, or did you go to them and think, you know what, I want a shot at this, I want to get on this challenge?
So what happened was, I think Shem Rocky fights out of our gym. He was fighting on Octagon, and my coach was talking to Brian Lacey. And Brian Lacey was telling him about this show, and then Brian Lacey asked him if he had anyone who he thought would be on the show, and Paul was like, you know what, yeah, I do, Jake McHugh. And then apparently, as soon as he said that, Brian Lacey's eyes just lit up because he absolutely adores me. And yeah, that was it. So then I got offered, and I was obviously not going to miss up that opportunity, so I took it.
How weird was it? A weird experience, kind of going against Shem, because obviously he was one of the coaches for Ireland.
No, not really, to be honest. Me and Shem are sound, you know what I mean? We had a good time over there. We had a little laugh together. There was no animosity or anything like that. It was just, he was there to do a job, and so was I.
So throughout your experience, you obviously lived with these guys, the others in the show. You were building connections with some of your opponents. Was that just a strange feeling? Anything you'd actually experienced before?
Never experienced anything like that before. I'd never had any real contact with my opponents before I actually went and fought them, or like before the weigh-ins, because I'm not really like that big of a talker. So like there's literally no interaction, and then to go into that house and then have to live with them, like it was a bit of a step up. It was a bit weird, but we got over it in the end.
So obviously one of Team England's coaches on the show was none other than the legendary Brad Pickett. What was it like learning from such an icon of British MMA, and maybe gaining some insight into your game from someone from the outside?
He was really, really good. His grappling is a lot like mine in the terms of the way he thinks about in terms of the way he approaches grappling, and then the certain moves that he uses, certain sequences, and like sort of the concepts that he uses to help his systems get all put together, if that makes sense. So it was really good having someone like that. We fit together very well in that regard, and it was amazing going from watching him. Like, it's still a bit surreal for me to be like watching these guys on the TV and then having them in my lives all the time, constantly. Do you know what I mean? It's just a really cool thing.
I could definitely imagine. I mean, if I was getting coached by Brad Pickett, I think I'd probably pass out from just the nerves of training in front of him. But obviously, your fight on Saturday night is a rematch against Armand. You two both fought on Octagon Challenge and resulted in picking up a 34-second submission. You've had a bit of time between that bout to reflect on the loss. From your perspective, how do you now view that fight and how it went?
I view that fight as think about how to say this.
This could go either way. This could definitely go either way, this one. So
basically, it just didn't go very well. There's been lots of things that I've been working on, quite specific things with my coaches that have helped me improve in all areas of MMA, not just the ones that I faltered on in that show, but mostly it was just about patience and not sort of getting ahead of myself and not diving headfirst into a guillotine. That would help. But I don't view the fight as like a mistake. I view it as a very, very good learning tool. So, and that's all I can if you view it in any other way, it's just going to end badly. So that's the way you've sort of got to view all your losses as like a tool to learn, a tool to improve, and something not to do again.
Yeah, I mean, you're quite well known for your quick starts. Throughout your career, you've kind of picked up first round, second round finishes. Inside the first couple of exchanges, you shot straight for a takedown. And like you said, you went into the guillotine. Was that always in the game plan to test his wrestling early on and then go from there?
Yeah, so it's like always my game plan. Like, won't be any secret for this fight either, to get the fight to the ground as quickly as possible. That's not a reflection on my strike, and that's just where I'm best at. That's how, like, I'm better at grappling than I am striking, so why would I strike, if that makes sense? So the game plan was always to take him to the ground quite early, but where I sort of went in with a little bit of an injury, I was like, I need to get this as quickly as possible, and I'd rush things a little bit, and then that ultimately led to me getting put a kick.
So does taking a loss, obviously it's quite a tough loss, 34 seconds. No athlete in MMA wants to take a 34-second loss. But does taking a loss in that manner kind of motivate you to get back into the gym and then sharpen your skill set?
Yeah, definitely. I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get more of a fight, to be honest, because like that's what I love. I love being in there and I love fighting. So it was really hard to deal with, and then I had to wait like months to be able to get back in the cage and fight again, and that was hard to deal with as well. But it did make me really eager to want to improve, and I have improved like so much since then. Even since my last fight, I've improved like more than I thought humanly possible. So
You just mentioned there, obviously you've had a fight between that now, and it was a triangle choke victory, Octagon 49. You then called out Armand for the rematch in your post-fight interview and were quite adamant that he wouldn't sign the contract or show up to the fight itself. Is there a reason that you believe that he wouldn't have signed the contract?
yeah, because he told me he wasn't going to, but apparently he already had. So I don't understand why he told me he wasn't going to. So no, it was just all a little bit weird, but it worked out in the end for me anyway. So so yeah.
Do you kind of see a bit of beef between them? Because I mean, in that post-fight interview, it was kind of a bit like you want to send a message to him. This is your chance for him to write on that contract. Is there a bit of beef between you two?
Yeah, not really, to be honest. Not on my part. He just likes to talk, and I don't really like to respond. But yeah, that was the worst post fight interview call out I think ever. It's horrific. um, but yeah, no, I don't really see any beef between us. After this is all finished, I'm not going to be like, I don't, what, I'm not going to like hold any hard feelings against him, and I hope he doesn't to me. So yeah.
I saw in an interview that he did, I don't know who it was with, so if anyone's watching who this is with, I do apologize, but he said something along the lines of, if you're not looking for a 34-second finish, or you won't get a 34-second finish, then you're not going to look better than him. Do you kind of view that as motivation to go in there and completely dominate the fight and get that 30-second finish, or?
No, not even a little bit. I think more, I want to show skill, and I want to show that I am better pretty much I am a better fighter than him. So 34 seconds doesn't really get to show my skills. So don't mind it leaving a little bit longer than that, to be honest. So I get to show everyone that there's no doubt in anybody's mind that I'm a better fighter. If that makes sense.
Of course. And if and when you get your hand raised on Saturday night, when can we expect to see you back in there? You looking for a quick turnaround? How does your 2024 look like?
I want to fight as much as physically possible. So I know there'll be a show in April in Birmingham, and that will be my goal after this fight, and then we'll just see what happens from there.
Do you have any opponents in mind for your next fight? Is there anyone in the division who's next on your radar?
No, I don't really like to look past who I'm fighting right now. So maybe after I've had this fight, I'll have a little think about who I want to fight. But yeah, no, I'm trying not to look past Armand, because he does need to be given respect. You know what I mean? He's always to keep me. I can't be thinking about anything else other than him.
I mean, you said a moment ago that it was one of the worst call-outs in post-fight. I believe that's what you just said. Have you been working on your post-fight interviews, your call-outs or anything?
No, I've still got absolutely no personality, so it's not going to be much better.
I mean, that is one way to put it. Let me tell you, that's hilarious. But obviously, before we get you on out of here, you do fight out of Next Gen Liverpool, and let me tell you, it is one of the best gyms in Europe. you are surrounded by certified killers, the likes of Paddy the Baddy, Molly McCann, Nathan Fletcher, one of my favorites out there. Shout out to Nathan Fletcher. But the list goes on and on and on. Just how much motivation is it training with these absolute top killers and these top athletes?
So it's unreal. Like the reason I improve so much over a short big time is because of them. Where I'm getting bullied in the gym every single day, that just makes me want to work harder and makes my game improve loads. So like when I get bullied and maybe I don't know, something goes wrong in the gym, I can come home and then I can research and then I can go and give them new problems where maybe I don't fail in the same way as before. If that makes sense. So it just brings your level up, it brings your confidence up, it brings your skill up, and all of these things, even to the point of the strength and conditioning that we have. So like Luke Riley's just won Fight of the Year, and like he got dropped a couple of times in that fight, or like once or twice or whatever it was. But his conditioning, the same conditioning that I do, was the thing that helped pull him through to the end of the fight where he was able to get that finish. So I know I can fully believe in myself that I will be able to eat a shot and I'll be able to get back up and I'll be able to carry on. My cardio will be. I'm confident that my cardio will be better than his, and all that comes with it.
When you step into gym, I mean, this might be a weird question, but when you step into gym and you see the likes of Paddy Pimblett, Molly McCann, Nathan Fletcher, Luke Riley, all these people who are basically at the top of their game at the moment. I mean, obviously Luke Riley and Nathan Fletcher are going to the UFC. It's just as simple as that. But Paddy the Baddy and Molly McCann, they are at the top of their game, popular athletes. Does it still like kind of shock you when you walk in there and you just see them improving their skill set?
A little bit, yeah. Kind of gives you a little bit of like imposter syndrome. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's amazing to watch them grow. It's like sets out a path for you. So like I can see the road where my career is going down because these have all laid out the path already for me. So you know what I mean? The gym has got like, can't even remember how many Cage Warriors world champions they've got now, and they've had so many fighters in the UFC. It's unreal. So I can see the road that this gym and my training partners and my skill set will take me down, and it's a good road. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Obviously, the fighters I've just mentioned there, they've gone from Cage Warriors to the UFC, or they can maybe go somewhere else, but they've always started off at Cage Warriors. Obviously, over the past few years, we've seen the likes of PFL growing. Would you maybe see yourself going down the PFL route instead of Cage Warriors, or are you kind of looking to follow the blueprint of success that they've already set out?
To be honest, Octagon is a pretty big show, and it's building and building and building. They have a huge, massive fan base all over Europe. Like when we were doing the show, when we got given like cars which had the Octagon logo, and people would like stop, like just random people in the street would stop and stare at the Octagon logo. Like everyone knows Octagon in like Eastern Europe. So maybe if I can get to the top of Octagon, the UFC won't be too far off from that. You know what I mean? So we'll just see how it plays out. We'll see what all the relationships between the organizations play out like, and hopefully it'll be a good one for me. It'll work out in the end.
I mean, Octagon is a massive promotion, and I mean, I think it was your last fight. It was in a massive arena. Had you ever fought in anything even remotely similar to that kind of atmosphere in that size of arena?
No, nothing's ever come close. To be honest, that was unreal. That was something that most pro athletes don't get until the UFC. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Really grateful that I was able to be a part of that.
As like little kids maybe getting into the sport, I feel like you dream of walking out with your own theme tune on, with your own walkout song on, obviously, with your team behind you in these massive arenas. Was it kind of a pinch me moment to walk out there and do your thing in front of thousands?
Yeah, it was. It was a really humbling experience. I kept like looking around and being like, "Oh my god, this is unreal." I was buzzing throughout the entire experience. Even like when we first got to like the hotel, because the hotel was straight across from the arena. So it was, even when we first got to the hotel, you could see the huge arena. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing. This is everything I've dreamed of since I began doing MMA properly." You know what I mean?
I mean, I can't even imagine how that must have felt. But finally, for those out there who maybe haven't seen you fight before, what can they expect to see when you step into the cage at Octagon 52 on Saturday night?
Going to see a lot of pressure, a a lot of high level grappling. Hopefully, if I don't get choked out again. A lot of pressure and a lot of grappling, and hopefully a little bit of a banger. Let's see what happens.
I honestly can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to tuning in. But Jake, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. You can catch Jake on Saturday at Octagon 52. You can obviously check out his socials on the screen now. So make sure to give him a follow and make sure to follow Combat Sports UK on all socials. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.